I had never watched MMA before I went to prison, because you gotta remember I got locked up in 2002, and back then it just wasn't popular. It was only on pay-per-view where people had VHSs or DVDs. John McCain called it human cockfighting, and they were trying to outlaw it in a number of states. Then The Ultimate Fighter came along, and all of a sudden everybody was talking about it, but we still didn't have access because we didn't have the right channels in prison. Then years later, CBS signed a contract with one of the MMA organizations. It wasn't UFC, and all of a sudden we were able to see it. They weren't the biggest names, but I remember like Kimbo Slice and these other people I'd heard of. Then Fox got the UFC contract, but they only showed one fight at a time, so it had this 2-hour block, and I remember it was Dos Santos and Velasquez, and the fight lasted like 7 seconds, so we had 2 hours of lead up to a 7-second fight. Then ESPN got the UFC contract, and we started getting regular fights, and they would even show some of the old pay-per-views in the middle of the night, so I would get up at Thursday at 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning to watch the pay-per-view from last month. And I got really into it, because I'd always loved action movies and action stars, and I'd done karate as a kid, I'd wrestled, and I started training when I was in prison, so it was all these things in one place. And it was always funny to see all the tough guys be like, yeah, that wouldn't work on me, and those are the guys that drop after